Mike Kahn presentation.
Heasley Radio Show. And on today's show, we're going to cover the coming Katy Independent School District School Board elections. We have two young gentlemen on the show here today that are more than qualified to go over all of the pressing issues in Katy ISD. Katy ISD has been a tumultuous, these elections have been a tumultuous event in the past. Very entrenched figures that don't want to sort of be moved from their positions, even if it goes against parents' rights. And so that's really been a pressing issue in Katy ISD. And on today's show, we have Haider Rizvi. Is that correct?
Yeah, Haider Rizvi. That's me.
Haider Rizvi?
Yeah.
Very good. And tell us what position you're running for.
So I'm running for Katy ISD Board of Trustees, position 3.
Very good. Very good. And sitting next to me is Caleb Silverio, correct?
Yes, Caleb Silverio.
And what position are you running for?
I'm running for the Katy ISD Board of Trustees, position 5.
Wow, great. So we got some young, fresh talent ready to take on these coming elections. And so with that being said, Haider, why don't we start off with you and you tell us why is it that you're running for this position?
Oh, boy. So a little bit about myself. So I graduated from Seven Lakes High School back in 2019. So I am a Katy ISD graduate. After that, I went to Lone Star Community College, and I got my associate's degree through them in Associates of Science in General Science. I ended up joining the Army not long after in 2022, and I am serving as a medic in the Army Reserves. Right now, on the civilian side, and what I do for my work mainly, is I'm an EMT. So kind of some fun stuff there. When it comes to why I'm doing this, it's because Katy ISD is my home. I graduated from there, and I have family members still going to Katy ISD, and they will be graduating in the next couple of years, hopefully the next 3. So it's very important to me that I invest my time in Katy ISD, return my time back to it because of the way it treated me, the way I grew up from it, and what it gave me as I was turning from a teenager into a full-grown adult.
So you want to give back to the institution that gave you so much?
Yes, I want to give back to the institution, the parents, as well as the teachers, who are, first and foremost, we need to take care of our students and teachers in Katy ISD. So yes, I do want to give back everything that they did give to me growing up.
I mean, I think that's a great sentiment. You know, our schools are the lifeblood of our communities. They are the heart and center of our communities. And unless we are taking care of our children, the students, and our teachers, then we're not doing our job as community members. So, very good, very good. And Caleb, you're up. Tell us a little bit about you and why you want to run for this position.
Oh, man. So I'm 19 years old. I just graduated Pato High School, the class of 2025 on northwest of I-10. And not a lot of people hear about Pato High School. When I was in Pato High School, I qualified for cross-country state 2 times back-to-back. And a funny story that happened is whenever I was running cross-country at one time in my neighborhood, I left the street. And when I left the street, a car came and hit me. And I flew off the whole dashboard, and I went onto the floor. And the one thing I'll take from that is a lot of coaches were there for me. A lot of teachers were there to support me. And so that's a big thing that I have growing up in Katy ISD. And a lot of people ask, so why so young? What desired you to go run? Well, the reason why I wanted to run is so parents have a voice in their children's education and making sure that we're taking care of our teachers. A lot of times each year, a lot of people just don't see the good in Katy ISD. And they've done everything for me that not even another district would have done for me. And so right now I'm at Houston City College studying political science. I also am a part of some organizations. I'm part of the Student Government Association. I'm also part of the Honor Society. And so what I want to do for the district is kind of get students to have a voice, have the parents have their voice of what's going on in the district. And I'm ready to lead that new generation into the district.
So tell us again, you were running and you were in a race, in a cross-country running race. You stepped into the pathway of a car and you got taken out.
And I got taken out immediately. Wow. Yeah. And so I have a picture. It's like my tooth was gone and my leg was broken and my nose. and everything. And during that, well, my dad is a sergeant for Harris County Sheriff's Office. And so I remember when that incident happened, he was so mad and he was like, let me call my lawyers and see what's going on. And we try to get on this case immediately because it was just crazy. And I lost a passion for running for a little bit, and I wasn't really motivated until after a while. And at that time, I was like 17, 16 years old. And after I recovered, I ran a marathon, and I ran the first Galveston marathon, and I won, and I got first place on my age rank. And then after that, I ran the Houston Marathon, and since then, I've been motivated because what my coaches did was they mentored me and tried to bring me up each time. I had some bad races, I had good races, but the one thing is that they never played down on me. They always try to uplift me, no matter what it was.
It's very important. How did you do in the Houston Marathon?
I did pretty good. I ran a 3:30 and I got top 30 in my age range. Overall for the marathon, there's so much people running in that race. So it's a lot of competition to be a part of.
Wow.
For sure.
Yeah, I love running. I hit a 6 minute 46-second mile a month ago.
Really?
So it's like it made my week when I did that.
6 minute 32 seconds over here.
Ooh, you got me beat.
Yeah, you got to catch up.
I got to do more work.
Well, then again, I do have that age on you, so
Yeah, that's true.
it does help me.
Yep. Yep.
Well, the one thing I love about running is it teaches a lot of discipline and how to be motivated to do stuff. So, like growing up, I wasn't really like a big workout person. I had like no desires to do nothing. And I started running day by day and I started being more motivated. And then I was sitting after graduation, I took everything off my cap and my gown. And my dad said, you need to figure out something to do. Is either you go to police training and get ready for the academy or you just find something to do. And so one day I was just like, let me just run for the Katy ISD school board and put myself out there. Like everyone always says, oh, you need to be qualified. Oh, you need to be this certain age to do that. Oh, your brain's not fully developed. But I served in the district. I qualified for cross country twice, and I understand what teachers go through every day. And so I'm willing to bring that to the district and be a new voice in this generation of Katy ISD, especially with the conservative value. Now, people are just hating on the conservative value, and I was a big fan growing up of Ronald Reagan, and no one ever talked about that in Katy ISD. It was always about Barack Obama, Joe Biden, anyone else. I remember kids used to hate on me in class because of what I believed in and what my values are, which I think is ridiculous and which I want to bring kids to feel safe in the district.
What I see in Katy is I see a disconnect between the school board and what I would call the parents' rights movement. I see, of course, I'm part of that movement. I'm a huge advocate for parents' rights. And what I see from the Katy School Board, from both what I will call the establishment, right? Because I don't think that the so-called conservatives on the Katy School Board are really conservative. I think they're establishment figures, and of course the left in the school board. And so what I see is a disconnect, and I see that they're very effective in elections. But what I question is, are they actually in touch with the common man in Katy, in Katy, in the greater Katy? Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm wondering. You know, where is the mindset of the residents of Katy at this point in time? Do they agree with the establishment agenda that I think is largely intact in Katy ISD?
Right, and that's the issue that I have right now. So growing up, it was like either you're conservative or Republican or Democrat. And so when I ran for the school board, we're having rhinos now in each position that they are endorsing. Katy ISD has an organization called KEEPS where they're endorsing so-called Republicans, but they don't really face the true values.
What's the name of the organization?
KEEPS organization.
KEEPS organization.
Exactly.
And that's an acronym. It stands for something?
Yeah, it stands for, it's like it's like some educational thing
and it's
they have.
So-called supposed conservative group that anoints certain candidates as supposed conservatives, but it doesn't seem that they are conservatives. No. Is that right?
Yes, exactly, because they have endorsed one liberal that takes money from Washington, D.C., which is a big issue because why do we want money from Washington, D.C. filled into our school board race? We just want local and what parents want. And so I'm just seeing a shift where we have rhinos now. And so there's a group.
So we have D.C. money being injected into local school board races to support leftists.
Exactly. And that's what the rhinos are a part of now. And so I kind of see a shift of a conservative fight that they're trying to say. And so a lot of people are questioning how I am as a conservative, and people are questioning my age. And so all they're trying to do is trying to say I'm not a real conservative or I don't bring the actual value. But when we see their values be placed on the Keeps organization, it doesn't show at all whatsoever, especially if you're being helped by a liberal. And Greg Abbott even spilled so much money to Harris County to still have rhinos. It's just, I think it's a crazy process how people are just trying to fake their way to get into the board with not really following the parental authority.
Okay, but again, what about this, the mindset of the common man in Greater Katy? Do they actually connect with the establishment agenda? We're going to go through that agenda here tonight. What is your opinion? Give me an opinion.
Oh boy. Okay, so when it comes to a common person being very involved in Katy ISD, to me it's a lot of family members, right? Parents have their children going to school. For example, I have my brother going to school. He is going to be graduating here in the next couple of years, going to the same school that I did, and, you know, he grew up here too. So if you put a common person into the position of looking at the current establishment and the way that they're governing everything, right? For me, it's super personal because these people sit over there and they're very disconnected. So how can a common person kind of put themselves in the shoes of someone sitting in the establishment if they're always sitting in a room where it's always the same people coming up to make a speech? If you go to any of the Katy ISD board meetings, you always have the same people showing up, same people making their statements. Instead of the common person, look at the Katy ISD board meetings. No, don't look at what I'm saying. Look at what the board meetings are showing, right? Go and watch the footage. It's always the same people showing up. You don't see all of Katy ISD showing up. Why? There's thousands of people. If that was the case, you'd see lines outside the door. You'd see more people showing up instead of admin staff and teachers, right? You want parent involvement too. Now, don't neglect our teachers. They are super important to us. But you would see more people showing up to these board meetings, getting themselves more involved. However, you need board members to start reaching out to the parents, start reaching out to families, seeing what's going on with all of that. Because that's how you keep yourself in touch with a common person in Katy. You reach out to them, you make sure they know what's going on, because half of the time when I was going through school, parents are mostly just going to know whatever their kid tells them, right? You don't get to see the bigger picture of what's happening. Like, oh yeah, I went to school today, I had this for lunch at the cafeteria, had my classes, did an exam, kind of that, right? But you don't see the bigger picture of everything that's happening in the background. So that's why board members, especially a big important thing to me, is that we make that first touch. We reach out to parents, we reach out to different people living in Katy ISD, because if you live in Katy ISD and you have a home, your tax money is paying for schools, whether you like it or not. That's just the way it works. So wouldn't you want to be a little bit more involved in all of that?
So you see a little bit of apathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one thing that is different from me, because a lot of people call me an outsider, and what they mean by an outsider is someone that's not part of the establishment, someone that doesn't follow what.
And who calls you that? The people that are in the offices, or the people that are your neighbors?
People that are on the school board of trustees currently right now.
They look at it as a fraternity organization that you're not qualified to be a part of.
Exactly.
And that's why I say that the Katy ISD, it is a seriously entrenched political independent school district board of trustees. Go ahead, finish up your statement.
Right. And that's the issue. A lot of people call me an outsider and that this kid doesn't have enough experience. He has nothing to do with the Katy ISD school board. He has no governance, but I did serve in the district. I went to school here.
But
I know everything that's going on.
You shouldn't have to be establishing yourself with the establishment.
Right.
The whole premise is off base.
Exactly.
You are qualified because you are a resident.
Right.
You are a taxpayer.
Right.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And the one thing that I bring to the table is I bring a unique perspective. I want to bring teachers. I want to bring students. I want to be a representation for the next generation. Doesn't matter if it's teachers coming into the district, students coming in to their freshman year. I just want to be that next role model for them, which people have constantly downplayed me on.
But here's, I think, the challenge for both of you young men is that the establishment in Katy is well entrenched. They are brand name figures. They're well known in Greater Katy, and it just seems like they're dug in real strong. And I think they're hard to beat in elections. Tell me what you guys think. What is the state of your campaign, and how confident are you that you can actually win these school board races?
Right. So when it comes to my campaign and how it's been going lately, for me, I've been prioritizing talking to neighbors, prioritize talking to families and people that live not just in my neighborhood, not people that live inside Katy, the Katy city limits, so to speak, but more so talking to every family member I can, going door to door, talking to them, having a generic conversation that I can have. That way, these people can understand why I'm doing this. And it's a lot of block walking. It is strenuous, it is tiring, but it's worth it because these people need to know exactly who is going to represent them, why I'm doing this, and exactly who they're going to be seeing in office for the next little bit longer. So it is a tough road, but it is doable. I do see myself being able to overcome the hardships of this election cycle and being able to win against my opponents.
Right. And my race has been very, very ruthless. A lot of people have been investing in my race specifically because we kind of have two outsiders. So there's a Democrat that's a community organizer. He's an LGBTQ advocator, and I'm just another outsider as them. And so we have one rhino that the establishment is taking. And so I try to bring a different perspective as I come from the northwest of I-10. A lot of the voting data comes from Seven Lakes, Katy High School, Cinco Ranch. More of the wealthy class-ish, more in that type. And so what I have is I live in the northwest of I-10, which is more of a lower income class. And so what I do is I try to go to each neighbor. I try to tell them, hey, I want to be the representation of your taxpayer money. I want to be a representation of what the teachers have issues with. And coming from Pato High School was nothing compared to Seven Lakes High School. And I remember when cross country, when we qualified for state, people were so shocked that Pato High School is even on there to even go to state. And so a lot of people appreciated of what I've done for the district. And I just want to be that new voice. And I want to also bring up the Hispanic community. There's a lot of Hispanic conservatives that people do not know about. And my dad, he came from Guatemala back in the 1980s from a genocide. And so when he came here, we lived in A-Leaf for a bit. And then we came to Katy ISD, and it's been the best district since, and I've been here since the second grade.
Good for you. Great story. I want to take a second and talk about our featured product. The featured product is the X39 patch, the most amazing medical technology ever introduced to man, the X39 patch. And I want to talk about Daisy from Denton County, Texas. And Daisy, she was a one-time beauty. In her younger years, she was an absolute knockout, stunning, beautiful woman. And with the passage of time, with the passage of age, those are things, that's a memory of the past. She's 63 years old now. And 10 weeks ago, she began wearing the X39 patch. Now, I'm going to explain to you what the X39 patch does. The X39 patch is photolight therapy that triggers what is called the copper peptide. And it's a patch. It's on my chest right now, so I can't show you. But it's a patch that you wear. And it's photolight therapy that triggers the copper peptide. The copper peptide has domain over age in a big way. And when it triggers that copper peptide, it then awakens dormant stem cells and brings the body back to life. Stem cells is what everyone's chasing right now. It's when you're a baby, you're flush with stem cells. And with each passing decade, those stem cells go away. And what the X39 does, it awakens those stem cells. And one benefit of that is it also awakens your collagen. Okay, collagen is what makes the skin look plush. When you go to the store and you buy collagen in the blue bucket, it's sourced from an animal. They bring it from an animal, and you have to drink it. It permeates your gut lining, and that's how their store-bought collagen works. The X39 doesn't do any of that. What the X39 does is it awakens it reactivates the collagen that's already within you. And so Daisy from Denton County, Texas, has been wearing this for 10 weeks. She's been wearing the X39 patch. And what happened is that all of a sudden people started to remember her from the past. Her beauty from the past began to peek through. And people started to recognize the beauty that she once was again today in her 63-year-old self. And what's happening is that she's finding that youthful beauty that she once had. It's the X39 patch. And there's something else very important that it does. The X39 patch, it reverses age. When it wakes up those dormant stem cells, it reverses age. And the clinical trials are in, the clinical trials are done, and they show that with 6 months of wearing the X39 patch, your age reverses up to 8 years. And it's not anti-aging. Anti-aging simply makes you look less old as you get older. It's not that. No, it reverses age. It's the X39 patch, the most amazing medical technology known to man. The outward benefits it has outside of just looking better is incredible with your stamina, your energy, the sharpness of mind, the fixing of injuries, lower back pain, and things like that go away with the X39 patch. It is today the fastest growing direct sales company in the country, in the world. Fastest growing direct sales company in the world. The revenues are expected to shoot over $1 billion within just 6 short years of introducing this product. It's the X39 patch. Please give us a call, 330-606-2304 to learn more about it, or inbox me on Facebook. It's also an incredible business opportunity out there. For you realtors they're sitting there showing houses and you have that Rolodex of clients, you can start go ahead and pitching this product to them. X39, and we appreciate that. Let's get back to Katy ISD. So guys, I want to talk about the state of finances in the Katy Independent School District, a pressing problem across the state. Debt is burgeoning at the county level, at the state level. It's a real problem. Before I do that, I want to talk about something I read in the Texas Scorecard today. I want to talk about the Lancaster, just to give you an idea of what some of these school districts are going through. The Lancaster Independent School District in Texas just put out a proposal for $736 million in new debt. $35 million of that is going to indoor sports facilities. With interest, it rises to $57 million. That $35 million number rises to $57 million with interest. $15 million is going into new sports stadiums. And with interest, that $15 million jumps to 24, almost $25 million. And there's a political action committee called Lancaster Rising that is launching the effort to get this bond package passed. So schools are now big time business, and putting debt on the back of the citizen for sports stadiums seems to be a non-issue with the establishment. And so with that being said, let's talk about the finances of Katy ISD.
Oh man.
May I say one last thing? Lancaster ISD, they have the proposals for $736 million and more debt. They have right now $191 million in outstanding debt. One school district. So this stuff can balloon out of control in a minute, and there needs to be a law passed against that. Go ahead.
Yeah, when it comes down to finances, if you look at the state of how you said Lancaster has over $191 million in debt, Katy ISD too has a lot of debt. We are the third largest ISD in the state of Texas, which is super huge. We're right behind Cypher ISD, right to our north up in Cypress. And for us, we have $29 million in debt. And out of that, we also have a stadium, Legacy Stadium. Even though it's newer than the older stadium, it's still called Legacy Stadium. We bought it for $76 million, $70 million, something around that amount.
Okay, real quick. You have $29 million in debt.
Yes.
And say this part about the stadium again, please.
So we commissioned the stadium and we had it built years ago. However, we're still paying off that debt, right? The stadium costs about, we'll go with $70 million.
Do you know how long ago it was built? You can give an approximate.
I would estimate about 10 years ago.
Okay, so this Legacy Stadium was built 10 years ago. And again, the number, $70 million, did you say?
Yes. At the time of building, it costed $70 million to build. We are still paying $10 million left to go. We are still in debt for the stadium that was about a decade ago. And it's right next to another stadium. If you take that $76 million or even take the $10 million left over balance, right? Think about what we could be doing for our students.
Well, quick, you said it's next to another stadium.
Yes.
And your point is that why do we need a stadium if there's one next door?
Exactly. I mean, if I can walk from one stadium to the next, why do we have
And that stadium is also a Katy ISD stadium.
Yes, sir.
Completely functional.
Yep.
So why would they build a second stadium when they have a stadium?
Well, you see, if I could give you an answer for that, I would. I have no clue why there's a stadium right next to another. Can someone please tell me this? This is a question I've been having since I started my election campaign.
Yeah.
Why do we have a stadium right next to another? Why are we still $10 million in debt? Someone answer this question.
$70 million stadium less than 10 years ago, still $10 million in debt, and there's a perfectly good stadium sitting right next to it. Go ahead.
I remember I was on the football team freshman year, and Legacy Stadium was being built, and I was like, this is just ridiculous because Road Stadium's right next to it, and it's perfectly conditioned. All the football teams play in it. The only reason why people use Legacy Stadiums to be more new, like renovated, to make it more look fancier, and people can actually come to Katy ISD because it's a great stadium. Like in Allen, Texas, I guess they have a school that has like an NFL stadium almost. I'm like, this is a waste of money when we could prioritize it with teachers and students.
Yeah. So taking it from there, actually, fun fact, I knew people when I was going to high school, right? So I graduated Seven Lakes 2019. I knew people who were not living in Katy ISD, but I know a guy, personal story. He lived in Katy ISD, but his family had to move out because it was getting expensive, right? Katy ISD, most of it's not, like you said, it's not exactly very financially friendly, right? We do have that lower class in the north that you said that you are trying to reach to, and I applaud you for that. We need to accommodate for all of our students in Katy ISD. But going back to this, his family moved out to somewhere in South Houston. He used to drive an hour to school and an hour back every single day, Monday through Friday, so that he could get that Katy ISD education. I think us putting our money in the wrong pockets, putting our money in different stadiums, no offense to our football fans, we already have a stadium next to another. But we don't need to be putting money out there like that, right? What if we took that money, reinvested it?
Real quick, may I ask, is there a proposal right now to put more money into the stadium?
No.
Or you're pointing out the fact that we still have $10 million in debt.
No, there's no more money going into the stadium. It's still $10 million sitting
right.
around, right? It's like we're having some pocket change, $10 million, right? Where's the next pocket change coming from? $10 million here. We don't have that. That's not the case. But we still have $10 million in debt. If we take that $10 million, apply it to our teachers, apply it to our students.
If we could, but we can't, correct?
Yeah, no, we can't take.
You're saying as a scenario.
Right, unless that company decides they don't want $10 million.
Right, your point is, what could we do with $10 million if we didn't dedicate it to footballs?
Yeah, if we didn't dedicate it to that, we would have quite a bit of money right now. I mean, if we just took away the whole stadium, we'd have $76 million, right? We could pay off our existing $29 million debt, pay that off, put the remaining amount, which we'd still have, I'm gonna estimate to about $45 million.
I mean, really, it just shows a disconnect between leadership and what they were put in place to do. Again, think about the first schoolhouse that was built. The idea, the concept that we would create a stadium outside never existed. The kids came there, they opened their books, they learned how to read, write, they learned science, not much more than that, right? Mm-hmm. But now, right, you have these school administrators that have gotten beyond that, and they want these huge enterprises, sports enterprises, and we've gone off topic, we've gone off mission. Then when you add, we'll get into it later, but then when you add the sexualized agenda where they want to start commandeering your kid's sex life, it just shows the disconnect. I mean, we need to get back to the point of education. We're so far from it.
Yeah. We need to get back to education, A, B, C's, all the way down to Z. That's why we go to school, right? We go there to learn. And Katy ISD has a reputation of being a really good school district. People come here for that. No one comes to Katy ISD thinking I'm going to go here for baseball. I'm going to go here for football. Clearly not parents. Students love playing sports. I'm not going to deny that. I love sports growing up. I still watch sports. I love Formula One racing too. However, we go to school for an education. We need to put our money into education. How do we do that? We need to help our teachers, right? Teachers are leaving Katy ISD. I know teachers personally who are living in Katy ISD, but they choose to go to another school, a private school, another public schools district somewhere in Cy-Fair. Why do they do this? Because, one, they get cheaper insurance rates probably, and the pay is better. The pay is certainly better. We need to be there for our teachers.
I want to say something. There should be complete separation of athletics and state.
Yeah.
I am so done with them. For example, the Houston Texans just built that beautiful new sports facility out somewhere in the countryside. I don't know if any taxpayer money went to it, but the first thing I think is, okay, are we paying for that? I don't know if we are. I hope we're not. But it's so commonplace for athletics, for sports, to be the cost of it to be placed on the back of our taxpayers, and it's enslavement. I was just in Las Vegas, and the Las Vegas Raiders, I don't know how long they've been there, a few years, and they have a gorgeous stadium. It's immaculate. And what they did is Las Vegas put an 88-cent tax on every person who comes and stays in a hotel per night. And so the Las Vegas Raiders came in, they got the stadium, the billionaire that owns it gets the stadium for free, gets to use it for free, and his franchise has elevated to a $24 billion net worth. And we're paying for it. There needs to be a complete disconnect, separation of athletics and state. The athletics organizations, they should exist, but they should exist on their own merit, on their own abilities. Maybe they can pay a royalty to use the Katy ISD name and brand and logo, but they should be fully financed by people that like sports.
Right. Exactly. And so now in northwest of I-10, we're expanding when now we have Freeman High School, which is all the way going towards Bridgeland. And so now it's like, how are we going to fund this? How are we going to have enough to pay our maintenance operations daily? And that's the one thing that I've been on since day one, is that we have to hold the superintendent accountable, because he's the guy who's dealing with everything from day-to-day basis about how the budget's being spent also. And the same thing too, when I was in sports, cross country, we barely got any funds. Even I had friends that ran cross country and they were in wrestling. And with wrestling, they couldn't go to every state meet. They couldn't go to every event that was in San Antonio, Austin, because they didn't have enough money to go, which is an issue. And the one thing that we need to prioritize is teachers, of course, because in order for a kid to play in a sport, the teachers have to pass the kid. They have to be on top. The kids have to be on top of their game. And so this is an issue we have going on right now. Like Haider said, teacher retention. A lot of teachers are leaving the district now because the insurance is very high. And the reason why insurance is very high is because the tariffs, all the supplies that's going on in the community, it's just a lot going on right now. And so we need to start focusing and putting our money more towards teachers and our educators.
Any last, I'd like to move on to the next subject unless you had a last comment.
I'm going to just end it off with this, right? If we can increase our teachers' pay and find alternate insurance sources for them, if we take time out of our day, if we do get elected, which I'm hoping we do.
The answer should be when.
Yeah,
I just became your political advisor.
Yeah, there we go. I got him on my side now. But when we do get elected, right, we need to spend more of our time looking at alternate insurance routes, right? Because I also know teachers that are not able to have family members on their insurance plans, right? We have single teachers, single mom teachers, single dad teachers. That doesn't matter. They should be able to provide for their families and be comfortable, not be wondering if they can afford the next medical expense or not.
The teachers do not have good insurance, health insurance?
It's too expensive. It's too expensive.
How would you propose to compensate for that?
We need to start looking. We need to start reaching out.
You're basically saying this is an issue that no one's talking about, the fact that the teachers' health insurance is outpriced for them.
Yes, it is definitely outpriced for them. And they're not making enough money as it is. We need to help pay them more. That's super important. That way they can take care of themselves and their families. We need to have teachers have their personal time as well to start planning for for lessons in their schools. And if we can find better insurance alternatives for them, guess what? They can take care of their families and prioritize academic excellence of each individual student in their classroom.
And that's what board members lack right now, is that they're not holding themselves accountable or going out to the community to figure out what is going on. How can we fix this? When I went to the board meeting, it was the two trustees that are establishments. They were just saying, oh, I feel bad, and we'll try to look for something. But it wasn't really, what can we do to change? I want to hear from the parents. I want to hear from people of what's going on. How can we make this district better? And just overall, and have people feel welcome to Katy ISD. It's not about unaffordability and, it's too expensive to be here. We need people, new up-and-coming teachers, and everyone to feel safe.
Let's make Haider's original point. $70 million to a stadium, and yet our teachers are having a hard time making ends meet with their healthcare expenses.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous, especially. No, it's not a little ridiculous. It's massively ridiculous.
It's absurd.
No, it shouldn't be a problem we should be asking and sitting around here in 2026. This issue's been going on for years now, right? The stadium was built a while ago. Teachers have been having issues for years. We're still having issues talking about teacher retention. This should not be a topic that we should be sitting here talking about. We should sit here talk about something else. Anything else. Why are we having issues with our teachers at this point? It's not something we should be having.
Well, gentlemen, I'd like to switch topics to the left's. I'd like to get an update on the state of the left's agenda to sexualize our children As we know, the left has made strong pushes to put a sexualized agenda on our children. It's perverted and absurd and immoral, but it's happening. In Austin ISD, a male student entered a female bathroom, and a complaint was made to the state, to Ken Paxton's office, who's now responding accordingly, that Austin ISD was turning a blind eye to this student's wish to go into the girls' bathroom. And that right there shows a disconnect between parent and the administration. And again, that's where the administration is attempting to decide moral issues for your children. This is completely wrong, immoral, and it should not continue. What is the state, and in Katy ISD, it's been a back and forth big time. We'll get into that. But what is the state of the left sexual agenda in the Katy Independent School District's schools?
So I attended one forum. It was a labor union, and I appreciate that they want to fight for our teachers and they want to be there for the teachers who can't afford anything. But the one thing they asked was, would you go back and unban any books that was in the library? And everyone else was saying, yeah, I would go back. Yes, I would go do whatever makes the children feel like they're welcome into the school, which I think is ridiculous. All the leftists on the ballot for May 2nd election. And so I personally didn't get to answer it. They asked all the leftists, but to me, it's ridiculous because we do not need to have any pornography books in the library. And some kids actually do pick it up, and we don't want kids learning that. I went to a school board, and Mary Ellen Cuzella, she said she had a list, and the books were going to be purchased and be put into the library. And it was Ted Bundy's The Serial Killer, his story, a transgender book that was going to be put into the library. And I was like, we do not need for kids to be reading this. I have a brother that's in the first grade, and he should not be reading that. He's a kid. I want him to grow up and find himself and know what his morals and what his issues are.
And your point is that within the leftist community and leftist candidates that are running for these positions, these school board positions, there is still a strong sentiment to put a sexual agenda, to teach pornography to the children.
Exactly, and that's what they're trying to push now.
You know, they call this book banning. They're always trying to twist and contort the arguments. They're attempting to say that there should be a right to teach pornography to children, to expose children to pornographic materials. And it is the most absurd position that is, it just shows how the left is disconnected from parents. Children should not be taught this stuff. And, you know, it's just a complete disconnect. What do you think?
I mean, I think the exact same thing as Caleb. Now, if we take these books and let's say we unban them, not going to happen under my watch. However, if you unban these books, what are you going to do if an 8th grader picks them? Sorry, not an 8th grader, an 8-year-old pick it up in school, right? Shouldn't these kids still be building their fundamentals on geography and struggling with that? Struggling with figuring out multiplication, because I know I did, and I hated multiplication and division. But those are the fundamentals for everything in life. Like if you look at finance, if you look at business, doesn't matter where they go, engineering. These should be the focuses that we send our students towards, is building that foundation in school.
Everything that you just said is a productive word. Engineering, math, science, you know, the arts. Those are where our entire conversation should be heading towards. It's called being productive. It's called being empowered, teaching the right things to children. And this agenda to take these other toxic, inappropriate materials and put them on our children, at its heart is something that is completely immoral, and I will even go so far as to say it's an evil effort.
It is.
It's destructive.
It is, because we need to focus on the academics, math, as Haider said. That's what we need to be focused on, not about if your kid wants to be transgender or not, especially with the bathroom policy. That's absolutely ridiculous. One of the trustees said, yeah, I'm against that policy, but I think what we should do was add an extra bathroom for kids who want to identify as something else. And I was like, oh my God.
Sorry, I couldn't help but laughing.
I was in high school. There's nowhere to fit an individual bathroom for what a person wants. Then you have to report to the principal. You have to get a key. I'm like, there's no time for that. You have like 10 minutes to get to class max. There's no time for each kid to be coming in and out of the bathroom. We just easy, men, women. That's it.
Right, but here's the fun part, right? If you think the way they're thinking, what I think that they're going for, right, is if you take away a classroom that's next to a bathroom, put in that single gendered thing that they're going for, right? What do you lose? You lose a teacher in a classroom. How many students do you lose in a classroom? 35? 30? Think about all that for one student to use the bathroom that says that's a man, but they say they're a woman, right?
It's all just to fill their policy and their agenda.
Yeah, it doesn't succeed anything for anyone else. It's an institution where you come here to learn. You're here to learn and be successful in life and have a good career, right?
Exactly. I just think it's getting absolutely ridiculous in Katy ISD and the Katy area. Any Democrats are investing a lot of money into the school boards now. And so I'm curious to see how this plays out because I know it's not in Katy ISD.
Yeah, I mean, school board races are hugely critical. They're fundamental. They have a huge impact. I mean, all those engineering firms, they all want to know who's going to win this school board race because they want to see new schools built. They want to get those contracts. It's just, it's big business now, and it's gotten away from the roots of what it's all been about. I think we should go back to individual schoolhouse, little house on the prairie. Kids bring their books tied up in the bow. But we should go back to that from a fundamental standpoint, at least.
Right.
Okay, I'd like to talk about another hot topic, which is the 10 Commandments in the classroom. Give us the update on that.
So the 10 Commandments, now they're allowed to be in the classrooms. San Antonio and Austin teachers were
real quick
mad.
The 10 Commandments are now allowed to be in public classrooms to be displayed.
Right, and it is by donations.
Was that?
It's by donations. It's
right.
not funded by any school.
Right. We'll fund the $70 million sports stadiums, but we're not going to put a Bible. We're not going to pay for a Bible. Right. Okay. My question: how did this pass? Did it pass at the state level?
It did. It passed by the legislator, and they allowed the 10 Commandments to be in the classroom, which I think is amazing.
Did it get contested in the courts?
It did get contested in the courts because it was the Democrat tried to say it's a violation between state and the separation of church and state.
But it passed. Okay. Wow.
Which is surprising.
I mean, Christian ethics are a huge, fundamental moral centerpiece. They're the founding. They're the foundation of our country. They're what tamed this Wild West. They're what introduced the moral element that allows us to put a code of civil laws on top of it. It was the Christian ethics, the Christian ideas. And no matter how much the left wants to go against that, they cannot deny that Christianity had a huge impact on the founding and development of this country.
Right, exactly. And so that's what I try to tell people a lot is the Constitution, the founding fathers was based off Christianity, the morals and the ethics. And a lot of the leftists say, well, the 10 Commandments is unconstitutional because it violates all freedom of religion, which we're not trying to take away all kids' freedom of religion. It doesn't matter if you're Muslim, doesn't matter if you're Buddhist, it doesn't matter what you are. The 10 Commandments just sits in the corner of the classroom. Teachers don't have to teach it, nothing.
Well, it's a set of commandments, it's a set of a moral code that any pious person will agree with.
Exactly. And I just feel like the left is trying to say, no, it violates everything, which I don't believe it teaches,
right.
like you said.
It's a set of good ideas. No, the left, we'll go ahead and put the pornography in the classrooms, but don't you put a moral code, based on ethics that supports ideas like keeping your commitments, being a good parent, being a good spouse, being a good neighbor and citizen. That stuff needs to get ejected. But we'll go ahead and put the porn in the library.
Right, which is ridiculous. And
we'll build the $70 million sports stadium too. Yeah.
While we're at it, why not put a third one right next to it too? Right?
There you go. Yeah, it was $70 million when we got one. Okay, so tell me more. Give me the update. What's going on with this 10 Commandments in the classroom?
So now Katy ISD, they're donating 10 Commandments to every classroom, and it's been going pretty well.
Who's donating it?
Any donors, I'd love to donate.
The
I know,
money's coming,
the
right.
money's coming. I know Mace Middleton, he donated, and it was a
Very
whole
good.
bunch of 10 Commandments. I've seen it personally in the classrooms, where it just sits in the corner and doesn't bother anybody, but I guess teachers have an issue with it. So as long as it keeps going in the classrooms, I'm fine with that. And as long as it doesn't bother anybody or anybody tries to tear it apart, which I'm
At that
still
point, no
supporting.
one should be tearing anything apart in the
Anything.
classroom. Otherwise, there's a problem.
Right.
Do you have an opinion?
No, none when it comes to this. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, just it's in the classroom, it's donated, it's not taxpayer funded, and it's in the classroom, it's not in anyone's harm's way, it's not doing anything to affect anyone, it doesn't affect their education. It's just there.
All right, well, let's move on to the next round of left versus right battling in the state of Texas. And let's talk about DEI in Texas. It's been prohibited, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. What is DEI?
So
Diversity, equity, inclusion. And basically, it's a Marxist push to nullify personal achievement, to sort of water it down on the basis of everything else. Did I describe it right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly right. So I was a big fan of Charlie Kirk. I remember when he got assassinated, I was like truly, truly devastated when he got assassinated because he was like an inspiration to me personally. And that's the reason why I decided to run for office, to be the next generation of students trying to run for the school board. And so I like the statement he made. He said, if there's a black pilot, do you want him to be qualified or do you want it to be because of race? And when I think of DEI in schools, we have Miller. Miller's a program service where it's automobiles, cosmetology, anything like that. And students can only get accepted based off qualifications if you have good GPA, good attendance, and just you are reliable. And what I think of DEI is just a policy where people just want to say, oh, okay, well, you're this race, this religion, you just get into whatever you want. But I really want people who are qualified to take these kind of jobs, which is anyone can understand. You know what I mean?
So DEI is prohibited in the state of Texas, but there is a group that is pushing back and bringing a considerable effort to restore DEI in the state of Texas. Tell us about that.
So the ACLU is an organization where they prohibited in Katy ISD, and it was funny because I watched the board meeting. The LGBTQ community came out and said, "I'm glad this has happened because
What happened?
DEI got prohibited by a federal judge. I think it was in San Antonio, if I'm wrong." And so now the LGBTQ and the left are saying this is great. We need to go back to having DEI because
Wait. I thought you said that the judge prohibited DEI.
yeah.
So why is the LGBT community supporting that?
Supporting that. Well, they're happy that DEI is coming back, I guess you could say. And
Because
they're-
LCLU is pushing it.
Exactly.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. And so I guess now people are happy and they're going to keep pushing. And so I guess they get what they want.
But it is still prohibited
It's
today.
still prohibited.
Basically, what you're saying is the LGBTQ community sees the ACLU as the cavalry coming to save them.
Exactly. Which is ridiculous. It doesn't matter if you're LGBTQ. It doesn't matter if you have a disability. I want everyone to be equal. I want everyone based off merit, qualification. It doesn't matter who you are as a person. I accept you for whatever you stand for. You know what I mean? I'm not going to have a certain ideology against you or anything.
Yeah. So I'm going to render this into a story in case it helps anyone understand, right? If someone gets hurt and they see an ambulance coming up, do they think, I hope this guy is white, he's black, he's Asian? No, they're just happy and they're glad that someone, regardless of their race and religion, someone that's qualified and inside a certified ambulance or fire truck or police vehicle is coming to help. Put in simple terms, that's kind of what it is. If you need help and there's an ambulance showing up, I'm not really sitting over there thinking, I hope the guy's white, I hope he's black, I hope he's Asian, whatever. That's not what you're looking for. You need someone that's qualified, competent, stays calm, and knows what to do. That's really what we need, and DEI is not going to push that anywhere. You need people that are fit, qualified, and able to handle the stressors of any job. Simply put.
Gentlemen, one of you two said that you wanted this topic mentioned, and I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go ahead and just put this out there, and then you can take the football and run with it. Academic outgrowth. What does that mean?
Oh boy. Okay, so academic outgrowth is huge. Why? Is because how do you have students succeed in the classroom? There's a lot of things that you need for a student to succeed, right? You need teachers. First and foremost, you need an educator in the classroom. But how do you keep educators in the classroom? We've been talking about this throughout this entire show so far. You give them a raise. You help them get through their struggles. Communicate with them. Insurance, if that's a big deal for them, which I know it is. Bring that up. See what we can do to help them. Because if you help teachers and good teachers that have been in Katy ISD for years, if we can help them stay and be successful in Katy ISD, they are helping the next generation of citizens graduate and contribute to society, right? You don't know what this next student's going to do. You don't know if they're going to end up being the next astronaut that goes up to the moon, like Artemis 2 was just happened, right? Very successful space mission. Congrats to NASA and our Houston astronauts. But you don't know what a student's going to do. So we need teachers to give them that support in the classrooms. And that's how you improve academic outgrowth, because if teachers are feeling respected, they're going to be able to give more time to their students. I remember when I used to go to high school, we would have teachers sitting over there, and they would stay after school, even if it's not their after school visitation hours. Like, let's say a teacher would sit there on Tuesday. I'm like, I'm struggling. I'm barely passing this class. They'd be like, come see me today. I'm like, it's Monday. They're like, it's fine. We need you to do well. We need you to understand. Those are the kind of teachers that Katy ISD employs. Those are the kind of teachers that we need to help promote that academic outgrowth. Teachers that are willing to take their time, sit down, and spend their time with the students. That is how you push academic outgrowth.
Exactly. And so my whole campaign is about student outcome. When I think about student outcome, I think about students succeeding far beyond just out of high school. And with me, a lot of teachers were there for me. I remember right into my senior year, they were trying to tell me, hey, Caleb, what college do you want to go to? And, oh, we get you admission. We get you a free waiver fee to get the college application, which is great. And I want students to be able to have that motivation to keep going, even if it's a trade school. Miller's a great program where kids are able to do to get their CDL license, get cosmetology license, anything, which is great. And I want to make sure that students are being able to do whatever they want in the future and still have that motivation in them. At the same time, teachers also need to be prioritized. A lot of teachers are leaving the district, as we said this whole time, and we need to keep these teachers that are being pushed out of the district. And it was funny because after my senior year, my cross-country coach left because it was just too expensive to come all the way from Jordan High School, kind of near Seven Lakes, to come all the way to Pado. And we should not have that happen, because now what? The freshman class is just going to have a coach that's not going to be able to mentor them as the other coach did, or the sophomore, the juniors. And so I just feel like overall as a district, we need to start looking at what we could do to benefit our district. We got to start looking at about our students' issues. So.
Yeah, you and me are on the same page on that. It's the simplest way to promote academic outgrowth.
And with the trustees we have now, I just don't feel like we're getting anywhere near to where we're at. We're just setting ourselves back and moving as a district. And people are mad because I want to move forward and I want to set the example for people, kids.
Yeah, being a board trustee is not a position where you just sit there it's not a retirement home. You don't just sit there for 20 years and you're just like, yeah, this is fine, I'm elected. All is well. No, you're sitting there to fix an issue. You're not sitting there for life. I saw a problem. I want to address the issue. That's why I'm running. And I know that's why Caleb's doing the same thing. I can see it.
I just like to present a question to the audience. Here we are today. We've been here for an hour with two young men. And I think they're probably early 20s. And can you find a more astute conversation on the state of a local independent school district than the one that happened here tonight? These two young men, what did they bring to the table? What did we talk about? We talked about how funds that are used for sports stadiums and things like that could be better used for academic essentials. We talked about how some of this misappropriation of funds, what would it mean if we were able to restore the ability of teachers to buy affordable health care? We talked about the restoration of values in the classroom, the restoration of good ideas in the classroom, and restoring the fundamentals of education, getting away from these nonsensical, inappropriate ideas and getting back to the basics, math, science, engineering, these kinds of things. And I think that these young men are ready to go. I think they're ready for a tough campaign. But we're not going to let them off that easy. And we're going to put a question in front of them right now that really will test their merits. And let's see if they pass this question or not. I hope I have you guys sweating a little bit right now.
A little bit, yeah.
Well, good.
Already.
All right, this is the question. I want to know the name of each Katy ISD high school and mascot. Go.
I'll take over 3 of them for you. So we're going to go with my graduating school, Seven Lakes High School. We have the Spartans. Cinco Ranch High School is the Tigers. No, that's Katy High School. My apologies.
He's already off.
Oh, come on. It was just one off.
I'm
I
teasing
fixed
you.
myself.
I let you back in.
I
Go.
fixed myself.
Go.
Tompkins, we've got the Falcons. I gave you my 3.
I can name all of it. Pado High School, the Panthers. Maid Creek, the Rams. Morner Ranch, the Mavericks. Katy High School, the Tigers. Seven Lakes Spartans. Tompkins Falcons. Jordan High School is the Warriors. And what am I missing? One more. Cinco Ranch, the Cougars.
Yeah.
Done?
And Freeman High School, which is, I think is a Falcon also.
It's
if
a
I'm not
Falcon too?
correct. Yeah, I think so. But name 9 of the Katy ISD schools.
I think they passed.
I think
I think they did
With some
it.
help? Yep.
There you go. There you go.
that's perfect.
Well, I'm telling you, this is exciting, guys. I'm sincerely excited. This was such a productive conversation. You guys are impressive, and you know, I'm very excited to see how these campaigns work out. I think you're ready for the hot seat. I think you're ready for the test out there in the field, and I know it's going to come because those establishment figures are not going to give up their positions easy. And you know, we disagree with them on the issues, but the one thing is that they work hard and they fight for their positions. So it's going to be a very interesting contest coming up. And I want to thank you both for being on the show, and I want to thank you for donating your time for something that's an unpaid position that is critical to the community. So thank you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
And with that being said, this is Chris Heasley with the Chris Heasley Radio Show in the Radio DeBang News Network's studios. We will be back here next week with one more hot topic. Have a great week, and thanks for tuning in.